The UFL Week 8 recap edition of the UFL Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Edge Boost, a bank account built for bettors. Sign up today at edgeboost.bet with promo code SGPN and get a $25 deposit bonus.
Oh, is there anything better than the UFL? Oh, that was so good.
No, Blandino, you're killing us up there.
Oh, we get the full car wash! Woo-hoo!
Hey, Rock, go fuck yourself.
Yeah, sir. We are here live. Welcome. Oh, what are you doing there? There we are. Perfect. You not have the soundboard either? I can play some other songs there.
I got the soundboard. I got the sound. Why are you guys going ISO on me? I like this, right?
Yeah, we'll play the music down there in Columbia. I didn't want to get a soundboard war with you, but I don't know. Your timing was off, so I wanted to. We all know you, sir, are the king of the soundboard.
Who is this guy? He's got like every meme ever produced on the internet. He can knock us out with his memes. And I do. I have tons of memes. I'll just keep memeing them to death until they just surrender because they just can't do it anymore. They don't have the memes around yet.
Is this or is this not the XFL? Yes, it is. Do I not currently have a pulse? Yes, I do. Let's play football.
Welcome to the UFL Gambling Podcast Week 8 reaction show and power rankings episode where Crossroads certainly meet bullshit. And look, I'm glad to be back for another week to talk about the nonsense that we're seeing across the board here. If you're wondering who the hell you're listening to, that's fair. My name is Colby Swigget, Database Dan, a.k.a. Pick Dundee. That's not a pick. This is a pick.
He was raised in the land down under, where a man thinks on his feet, speaks with his fists, and lives by his wits.
When Dundee happened, he was a superstar.
I think tide turning, as I remember, I was raised in the desert, but tides kind of turn. It's easy to see a tide turn. Did I say those words?
Did I say the words the UFL was a good product? I think I did about a year and a half ago. But we got news on a conference championship game, and guess where? Surprise, surprise. Can't wait to talk about it with my chums. I am joined by my co-host. He's the host of the Bottom Line Bob's podcast. Go check it out. Give it up for Scumbagger Vance, a.k.a. the Bet Detective CJ.
What's up there? Oh, boy, here we go. What's up, fellas there? Good that you're in your last day in Columbia. The thunderstorms are coming down, and it sounds like you're bringing the rain with you. You're bringing the hell with you there. I can't wait to hear your numbers that you brought about why the league is awful. But here we go. We're coming down the home stretch. I'm ready, excited. Let's do it.
Yeah, buddy. And I'm glad hopefully I'm not lagging, but I mean, who cares? All right. Like if I am lagging, it's just like a UFL production when right in the battle of a big game, it cuts to a pregame show. Yeah. So, whoa, there we go. We got some live bullets here. We are joined by third man in the booth, the host of the Old Fashioned Football Podcast. Subscribe, check that thing out. Give it up for Justin Mark, a.k.a. No Turn J Mark. How are you, buddy?
Doing good. Yeah, you mentioned how they cut to the NBA pregame show. Before they did that, I saw a bunch of people on Twitter complaining, why are we watching this UFL game when the NBA pregame show's going? It's like, get the fuck out of here. This is a good game, and you're complaining about a pregame show?
Yeah, and it wasn't even the TNT pregame show with Shaq and Barkley. Yeah,
right.
No,
So-
well, that's the thing, because Barkley probably would have been like, keep this UFL game on. I'd rather watch that. But Stephen A. Smith's like, I get $100 million. I got to hear me yell. And then he called him Jamal Williams instead of Jalen Williams. Like, Jamal Williams is going to show up.
Well,
Like,
I don't get they ain't cold, but they're counting down 7-6-5.
Yeah. Woo. If I get struck by lightning, this is actually normally I think I would like. Did I just lose you guys?
No, you're good. But that sounds like your own soundboard, the Colombian soundboard back there.
But I've always wanted to go out on the microphone, but not on a UFL pod. All right, just let me do it. Let me do it on a CFL gambling podcast, a sports gambling podcast, a college experience one. Go check out all those guys. We are going to react to the 4 games that happened here, but we got news that obviously Ford Field not eligible to play a home game in the playoffs. Either is Aldi Field for that Saturday. Now, a lot of people had speculated that, hey, why not play it on the Friday? Why not play it on the Sunday? But they named where they will be playing this game. And they even interviewed a post-game presser. I could hear Jordan TAMU saying, "Why not play it in Arlington where their hub is? Why waste money on travel?" But guess what location they chose? I'm assuming
travel, save money, and reporters like, yeah, I don't know. It's a good question. We're supposed to be asking the good questions.
Yeah. If you're wondering, so the championship game is played at that filthy Battle Dome in St. Louis. But now, regardless of record, the UFL championship game in the XFL division is already locked in to that same filthy Battle Dome. I mean, I can't do it, guys. I can't do it. This is such a bullshit product. I don't know if you guys were as outraged as me, but when I saw that, I go, what a ridiculous, like, can you do anything more to help one team? We have seen this so many times. I can't take this league serious. I think it's the worst in the OG XFL in 2000 with He Hate Me. So what did you tell me? You guys were as outraged as I was when you saw that news.
Go fuck yourself.
So they announced that it'll be St. Louis versus DC in St. Louis for that playoff game. And are they also doing Michigan, Birmingham there as well?
No, I think that's is that exactly? That could be in Birmingham if the Birmingham wins this week.
That'll be in Birmingham regardless, I believe.
Yeah.
Regardless. So Birmingham, so even if Michigan has a better record, that'll also be in Birmingham either way.
Correct.
Wow. Okay.
He's not as outraged about that one because it benefits his Stallions.
No, I have the Stallions winning this weekend. So
and the league has it rigged for them as well with the 5 superstar quarterbacks, and they get to host road playoff games as well. But hey, it doesn't matter because it's not a filthy Battle Dome.
Yeah, I mean, football should, to quote Bill Belichick, football should never be played.
Yep, I think he froze up on a Colombian narcos drug czar took him out or something because he looked like he literally got frozen in a. That's what the Colombian soundboard is: lightning, thunder. There's narcos happening right now. I mean, I think he just took one to the back of the neck right there. It looked like the David Ortiz hit that one time when he was outside that club in Dominican there.
Little known fact: the Colombians are Battlehawk fans, so.
Colombians are Battlehawk fans. Hopefully Dundee's connection will get better and he doesn't have to stare at us. Speaking of taxidermy, I feel like a taxidermy Dundee staring at us right now as I brought up the squirrel thing there. It is a weird situation. Before we get into that, I might as well talk about the merch sale that we have going on, which is a reminder that we're running a 20% promo off everything with promo code DGENS. We can get a bottom line bombs, you can get old fashioned football, you can even get a college experience with the promo code DGENS, 20% off everything in the store. Oh, there it is. There's a spring football guy short sleeve t-shirt. I like that. We just lost power, Colby said on the Slack. So we'll see if we can get through this. That has the UFL made an announcement about that, like why they chose St. Louis and Birmingham? Did they just want fans of one of the other teams to be there? I imagine is their logic.
Yeah, I'm assuming that's what it is. I don't know why they don't do a neutral site, but
yeah,
I do get it. I mean, you have a better chance of people showing up. Maybe not in Birmingham, but you do have a better chance of people showing up if it's at one of the actual stadiums of the team. So
sure,
I get that part of it, but this should have been a neutral site either way.
Yeah, this definitely should have been Arlington. But the flip side of that is, hey, don't fucking double book a soccer game or something decent. You know, maybe maybe think ahead with the playoffs. But UFL, someone's got to stand in the flex. So anyway, all right. Well, does he do have slides here? Let's see what the slides were all about. This was here we go. Look at that. Memphis, San Antonio. Let's get right into the recap. See if Kobe D jumps back in. That's fine. If not, we can handle this from here. This was a game we were all on the Brahmas. What could possibly go wrong situation. Halfway into it, I was like, I think I was heavy on them. And halfway into the game, I realized I might have too much money on the San Antonio Brahmas. They are the worst team in the league for a reason. They played very well versus DC, but Kevin Hogan was not that guy versus Memphis. He was absolutely horrendous. He had 3 interceptions, threw for 90 yards. That being said, they still should have won this game. You know, that's how bad Memphis was. And the handicap, because I loved it even more when they started Troy Williams instead. He was terrible, 45%, 5 completions for 36 yards. He's amazing at 2-point conversions, apparently, once it gets to overtime. But other than that, Kirkland had a big drop, another pick 6. Pick 6 seems like the story of the weekend, though. Every game where teams were outgained, Colby would be here screaming about how San Antonio had 285 yards and Memphis only had 167, which is a fair point. But I will counter with maybe total yardage isn't the end all be all for who won the game or who just should have won the game. This could have been a coin flip. I think the Brahmas should have won this game. They did not, for reasons because they're the Brahmas. What say you with this game here? Between the awful Showboats and Brahmas.
Yeah, certainly not true where yardage is the end all be all this week. Yeah, right. I mean, when you get beat by a team whose quarterback only threw for 36 yards, that's got to be a deflating, defeating feeling.
That's pretty impressive.
But I mean, Kevin Hogan turning the ball over 3 times. He had 3 interceptions. That didn't help, and the Brahmas just looked sloppy. I mean, both defenses looked decent, which is why I thought the Brahmas could win this game. I mean, if you look at the run game too, Corbin, who you had on your DFS, 143 yards.
Amazing.
They should have won. It was just the turnovers killed them. I mean, turnover battle is what it's all about. That's any league of football. You got to win the turnover margin. They didn't. And so, yeah, there they go, losing the game, I guess.
Real quick, the tout, since you brought up Corbin and his amazing game, 143 yards, a touchdown, 5 for 38 through the air as well. Another DFS cash for me, by the way. Pretty top. It was a top one. And I had a goose egg in the lineup too, but I had a couple plays in Corbin. Corbin was huge. They switched it up. Even the touchdown pass the Brahmas got was from a tight end as they did some trickeration out there. But the missed field goal hurt, obviously, and then Kirkland dropping that ball on second and goal, or whatever it was, right there at the end. He catches that touchdown. No way is Memphis driving down the field with to take the lead back. That was the game right there. Troy Williams, obviously, who threw for 36 damn yards. And then all of a sudden it goes overtime and they do let's do a 2-point shootout. And Troy, he can't miss those. Troy Williams is on fire there. And speaking of coming back and on fire from the Colombian thunderstorms himself, Pick Dundee, you're back. What's up, buddy? We thought we lost you. We thought you got snuck in the back of the head by a narcos or something. You just froze and you were staring. Who knows what's going? You got to get out of that damn place. And of course, he's muted right now. We can't hear him. We got him. Looks like he's seen some shit, Chatty Brown said. That's hilarious.
Yeah, we can't hear you, Colby. I see him talking, but we can't.
Yeah, I do see him talking. What's going on there? He said he lost power, and then he lost connection. Now we see him. We can't hear him. Maybe this is the best way to digest Colby completely. You can see him doing all the rants and all that, but you don't hear all the barking. Perfect. Let's give Colby. Let's recap the games, and then we'll ask for Colby for the thumbs up or thumbs down on what he thinks about the UFL product and the game. What did you think, Colby, of the Brahmas Showboats 24-22? Did you like that the Showboats were outgained by over 120 yards? No, he did not. He did not. And as Colby will point out, the team that gets outgained in this league usually wins the game. Cars are going to get a bullshit pick six. So, all right, let's move on to that. Colby will work on his sound. We'll give him more thumbs up. Then we had the game of the weekend, Birmingham, St. Louis. We got the cover. If you took
got me? You got me?
Oh, yeah, there he is. What's up? It's about time.
Nice of you to join us.
Did he go back out? Colby, hear us?
Come on. We can now hear him, but he can't hear us, maybe.
Good Lord. We just got, you got me, then that was it. Whatever you did was great. There he is. Ladies and gentlemen, Colby Dant, is he back?
You're a crumb creep. I want to fight you. But you don't have the courage. You're a real crumb bum. Put that on camera. You're a creep.
All right. Well, we kind of hear him, then we do not. All right. Let's talk about this Birmingham St. Louis game. When Colby D can come in, he can. He'll probably give us a thumbs down on this one. Another game where Birmingham outgained St. Louis 369 to 275 yards. But like we said, the yardage does not tell the full story. Another pick six was a huge play in this game in the third quarter. The fumble on the 7-yard line, which was set up the touchdown. So those are 2 touchdowns off 2 huge turnovers. And then, of course, Marable fumbles at the end of the game. Smith looked good, 262 yards, 3 touchdowns, ran for 45. Deion Kane had 2 big ones. Sailors, though, that was actually kind of the big story. Birmingham had the number 1 rush defense. St. Louis had the number 1 rush offense, so it was strength on strength. And Sailors ripped them up. 16 carries, 118 yards, and a touchdown. Dugan even ran for 54 yards and 2 touchdowns. This was a big game. This is the game they wanted, and they got it. So what do you think about this one?
Yeah, no, I mean, we were all on the Stallions here, I believe, and got the cover, but I thought they'd win it outright.
Yeah.
Credit to Battlehawks. I mean, did the offense look great minus the run game? No, but they got the win, and that's what matters. I know they were outgained. Colby will like to let us know about that, but I mean, they kept in the game. Their defense played well. I think they did a really good job. Speaking of Deion Kane, I'll tout my DFS lineup.
Yes.
6 times the money, had Kane in there, 115 yards, only 2 catches, but that's all he needed, I guess, for his 2 touchdowns.
It was Hakeem Butler-esque.
Right. Exactly. Yeah, very much so. This was an interesting game to watch because this could be our championship game right here.
Right.
And Birmingham is now down to 3-1. So, you've seen the odds get a little bit better there for them to win. I don't know. This was a fun game to watch. I liked this one a lot, not just because the Battlehawks won, and I wanted to hear what Colby ranked the Stallions now in his power rankings. But
yes,
it's still good.
It felt like a heavyweight bout. It really did. It felt like two of the best teams in the league going at it, and they kept going back and forth. Score for score. Game ever got out of hand. I thought Birmingham would still win it somehow, but they were on their way. Till Marable fumbled on the 40. But big plays, big games, big teams. You could tell St. Louis. It really meant a lot more to them, though. I do think that it was coming out. Tony Meatball talked about it all week long, and so big numbers there, and so now the record wise, so is St. Louis. So St. Louis is now what, a game behind, half a game behind DC, or they locked up?
Well, let me check because I don't remember.
And Birmingham and Michigan play this week, so they'll settle that. That's why Birmingham didn't really need it as well, too. We discussed that earlier before the game. Their big game is this week versus Michigan.
Yeah. So Defenders, Battlehawks, both 6-2.
Okay.
Defenders beat the Battlehawks already, right?
Right. Yes, they did. So that'll play out the way it plays out. So maybe it'll be off for nothing anyway. Maybe if St. Louis will have home field advantage. And then what will Colby have to say about his chanting leagues? All right, now let's go to the other game that was happening at the same time. And matter of fact, I had an opportunity to watch both of them, but I didn't want to, out of spite. I'm like, I'm not watching this goddamn Houston game. And I watched it later, the recaps and the highlights and the whole damn thing. But I hated the fact that they're playing at the same time. It's just insane with the ratings, and there's no need to do this, especially when one game was so much better than the other one. Michigan blew out Houston, but then you take a deep dive into now this one. Colby would definitely have a point here with yardage wise. Houston with 441 yards, Michigan with only 254. But the big story out of this was the benching of Danny Perkins, the MVP, Bryce Perkins, whatever it is, for Danny Etling. I'm sorry, I'm combining Etling and Perkins there. Benching Bryce Perkins for Danny Etling. They said it was because of an ankle injury. Now, he was on the injury report all week. It's not like they made that up. But to announce that right before kickoff was a bit shady. I mean,
yeah.
Oh, is there anything better than the UFL? Oh, that was so good.
I mean, that was crazy. You can't make that announcement right before kickoff. Oh, by the way, the MVP's not playing. What? And then we know they have a fetish for Etling and just getting him in there. So this was crazy. I don't think it was the big conspiracy that Colby would be ranting about, where they wanted to get Houston a win by forcing him to play Etling. I just think that's the way they are about reporting with injuries and stuff. And they decided this is a game they didn't really need, or they could win without him. Why not rest his ankle? And I could see the logic there. Other than that, Etling, 3 touchdowns, 63%, nothing great. McClendon looked good. Hall, another one of my DFS guys, had a monster game, 11 catches, 88-yard touchdown. Zippy White as well. But again, the theme of the weekend, pick six. Pick sixes are changing entire games. And then, once that happens, it became a 3-score game. And then that was all she wrote.
Yeah, you got the pick six. You had the Stallions had that punt return that went all the way down to the 1 yard line.
Yeah.
And then
the Panthers. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Sorry. Panthers. And then Houston, they went for it on 4th and 2 and it was 14-12. They didn't get that. That killed them. And then they had another 4th and 1 later. It's unfortunate because you watch this Houston team now that they're a little bit more settled, now that McClendon is the starter, and they're a fun team to watch. I mean, they run the ball well, whether it's Kirk Merritt, Zaquandre White, Lingard was in there running the ball well. I mean, they run it well. Mm-hmm. McClendon's got zip on the ball. He threw some really nice passes. The defense plays well. It's just unfortunate that they couldn't get that going earlier, or this would be a little bit more of an interesting playoff race, I feel like. But the Panthers with the Danny Etling thing, it's the injury report. I mean, you can list him as probable, but having the injury, the ankle injury, because he was on there. But on the depth chart release, they had him as QB1. If you thought that he wasn't going to be able to go, I don't even know why you put him as QB1 there on your depth chart.
Right.
I mean, that's just a fucking with the Houston type of deal. Let's not let him know. Etling did look decent, though. I mean, he even moved a little out of the pocket. I was impressed with some of his throws.
Not too bad at all. Absolutely right. As Gladiator Dog says, not a conspiracy, just bullshit was it. And he's exactly right. And EMS makes a good call. Every over did cash this weekend, by the way. Pretty easily, too. Except for this one was probably the closest one. Houston had a rally actually to get it. How funny was that though? Now Coach Curtis Johnson's going for it on 4th and 1, 4th and 2, down 2. Meanwhile, with the huge lead against Birmingham, he's punting from the opponent's 40-yard line on 4th and 4 when all you need was a field goal or anything to ice that game. Just absolutely crazy. He's just mind-boggling every single week. It's crazy. Mike Nolan versus Curtis Johnson. What a matchup that was.
It's exactly why I didn't blame him for that loss against the Stallions. I mean, this is new territory to him. Having a good team, being able to move the ball. I mean, he doesn't know what to do. It's not his fault.
No, you're 100% right. Oh man. All right. Let's talk. Let me do a couple ad reads here for him. We'll get to the final game of the weekend of DC and Arlington, which was moved around all the networks. But first, let me tell you about Edge Boost. the first ever bank account built for bettors, ensuring all gambling transactions are approved. No usage fees, no minimums, earn cash back rewards, 100% approval for all deposit bonus. Sign up today at edgeboost.bet with promo code SGPN. Deposit $25 and EdgeBoost will match deposit. That's edgeboost.bet, promo code SGPN. Also brought to you by Underdog, the best way to play fantasy sports for cash. It's going along for the NBA playoffs with their tier extender. Bonus hop in game one. The longer the series goes, the bigger the bonus gets. Pick 'em entry I like there is Karl Anthony Towns over 22.5 points. He's averaged 30 against these Pacers. And I'll take Rudy Gobert under anything because he's French. So sign up with promo code SGPN to claim your special pick and first time deposit off to $1,000 in bonus credits. UnderdogFantasy.com, promo code SGPN. All right, now we are back, and let's go to the last game here. On Sunday, Arlington, D.C., the Birmingham St. Louis game seemed like the biggest stakes game. This was the best game. This game, I believe, was the more fun game, D.C. and Arlington. This was a shootout, 33-30. I was on D.C. I know you guys were on Arlington. I think we all go 2-2. We were all in San Antonio. We're all in Birmingham. I think we're all in Houston too, weren't we? Or no? Did anyone have Michigan?
We were all in Houston. Yep.
Okay, so you guys were 1-3. I went 2-2 because I know you guys faded my DC Defenders. I've been saying my DC Defenders is something about them. They're playing with a chip on their shoulder. I love the doorman as the coach. I know their defense is terrible, but that offense, it is potent. They play that deep ball, and no one seems to be doing a vertical game the way they're doing. It's kind of shocking. So. This was a great game. TAMU threw for 240, 2 touchdowns. He caught one from Roland. When I did the Roland TAMU hookup, that's not exactly what I had in mind of TAMU catching the ball from Roland, but I'll take it. I know King of Spring became the Queen of Spring at the end when he threw the pick to cement it. Perfect. But before that, he did throw for 350 yards and a couple touchdowns. Powell had 2 touchdowns. Vaughn had 2 touchdowns. Deion Jackson looked good, 89 yards and a touchdown. Everyone looked good. This was when everybody eats kind of game. No matter who you had in this game, they got some stats. A monster play was it looked like it was going to be a scoop and score. DC it was crazy because Perez fumbles a sack, scooped it up. And as he's scooping it up, I'm like, don't just go down. I was actually saying go down because this is exactly what happens. These linemen get ripped from behind. Then he put 2 arms over it. I'm like, oh, he gets it. He knows someone's going to go for him. And then once he smelled that end zone, once he saw that line, he couldn't help himself. Went one arm like he was ready to go across. Ball fumbled, goes out, 20-minute review. It wasn't Blandino, but still.
No, Blandino, you're killing us up there.
It was Pereira, and they were like, oh, this is the hardest thing I've ever had to review. Is he in bounds? I'm like, doesn't even matter. Once you fumbled out of bounds, it's not your ball anyway. Who cares if he has possession in there? But that kept Arlington close. To Arlington's credit, they came back, scored right away, and it was a game all the way through, and it came all the way down to your man Perez's interception. What a great ending, though. It was an exciting atmosphere. The beer snake was back, and DC is officially in the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, and that ending was classic Luis Perez. That was not the call from head coach Bob Stoops. He said he expected him to spike it to kick the field goal. Perez called a little audible, I guess, and his audible led to the interception with the fake spike. First he pumped it, then he fake spiked, then he threw it, and it was intercepted. I'm not quite sure I understand why you pump fake before you're going to fake spike, because then the defense is fairly certain, I would think, that, oh, he's not spiking this ball. I've never seen a quarterback.
Was he doing a
fake and then
Dan Marino fake spike? What was he trying to do? What was his goal? There was 6 seconds to go.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if the pump fake before the spike was like, oh, let's pretend we're drawing time off the clock. I don't know. It's Luis Perez. I mean, I know he throws for a lot of yards. I know a lot of people like him, but he consistently kind of folds under pressure. And that's just how, one of the things I've said about, is he a bad player? No, he's not a bad player for all the shit I give him, but he's got this cult following and people calling him the King of Spring. He's got his own book called The King of Spring. And he's like Mr. 500, really. I mean, I wouldn't call him the King of Spring at all. Even the year they won last year, they didn't have a very great record. They got into the playoffs and ended up winning. So
no, terrible record. He was dropped into that roster and they pulled off a huge upset. But he does have a book. And he learned how to play quarterback on YouTube, and he probably watched Dan Marino highlights and see how to do the old fake spike routine.
He's like,
Was
I
it
got
New
this.
England? Was it New England last year where Mac Jones, there was someone a couple of years ago, someone did that? Like in London, he tried to do the fake. He threw an interception and a triple coverage. Like he did the old fake spike. Everyone was fooled, but like, oh, okay, well, now we'll just go defend a Mac Jones pass, like it's like, oh, Luis Perez, yeah, you startled us, but now you're going to throw a Luis Perez pass. And they picked it off, and DC won. The beer snake was alive and well. Plenty of reports from the beer snake there.
Yeah.
What did you think about the home crowd DC had, and the fact that they're obviously now might be robbed of a playoff game?
Yeah, the crowd is fired up, and that is unfortunate that they won't have a playoff game because they were lit. They showed up for this one. And, we've talked about DC's defense kind of falling off. I don't think I'm worried about that as much anymore. I mean, the defense still obviously allowed 30 points, but when your offense can keep up, it don't matter. I mean, and we've seen that in teams at every level that the defense isn't there. But some of them do have the offense that it doesn't matter if the defense isn't there, and it feels like DC is that team.
Yeah, and I think a lot of the because their offense is so fast paced and big chunk yardage, I think that plays into the defense where they have to work extra hard and there's a lot more stress on them. So maybe they're not as bad as the numbers say because of just the way the pace of their offense goes. And they have to, and the other team knows they have to keep up too. So they're being extra aggressive. They're not trying to grind anything out. What do you think about my man TAMU? I know you don't like him, but I think he's the front runner for the MVP now, even over Perkins after him sitting down, playing half the games. Look at his numbers. They're gross. His percentage isn't great, but the yardage and touchdowns, they're out of hand and they're in first place. I think it's a pretty good case for him for an MVP.
Yeah, I think you have to consider him. The passing percentage is the one thing that would stand out to me, but he's a gunslinger. I mean, that's any gunslinger quarterback at any level, they're going to have some inconsistency there. They're going to have a lower passing percentage, a higher interception than some of the other guys. But if you look at their record, you look at how many yards he's thrown for, I think he leads the league in big play passes. So passes over 20, 40 yards.
By far. They throw the ball over 20 yards. It's like 50 times, and the next one's like 15. Like, it's crazy how, I don't understand why more teams don't do that, especially the teams that have quarterbacks that can do it, Maybe it's a protection thing. I don't know. But it just looks like a different offense that DC runs than everyone else does in the league.
Yeah, absolutely agree. And shout out to your pick, Tony Jones Jr. I know he didn't put up a ton of points, but his line was at 19.5, and he smashed that with his 36 yards.
Oh, yes, absolutely. Let me hit that for you. J Mark, and then follow J Mark on X at J Mark Football. He gives out UFL props that you get from the ESPN app, because one thing I will give ESPN Bet app. They do give out UFL props, mainly because they run the league, but that's where you can find them. And so that's great. So he cashed over 19.5. What else did you give out? What else were you doing prop wise?
I don't remember off the top of my head. I gave out an underdog fantasy one as well. And 4 out of the 5 of those hit. So if you play the flexed entry, like I do, you won money. Luis Perez higher than 212.5 passing yards. Tony Jones Jr. higher than 19.5. Deion Jackson higher than 44.5 rushing yards. That was way too low. And Sal Cannella higher than 42.5 receiving yards. I think the only one there that didn't hit was the Chris Rowland higher than 55.5.
Yeah, that's 2 weeks in a row. I got bailed out with the Rowland throwing a touchdown, but that's 2 weeks in a row now where Rowland has disappointed as far as receiving yards, receptions in general. He had a couple drops, a couple missed passes, but that's what TAMU was going to do. But yeah, the thing is they have a lot of weapons and they spread it out so well.
Yeah.
So it's hard to he was the guy now he's just not the hot hand, but that's the thing. As soon as you don't play him, that's when he's going to go off again. One
for sure.
Huge monster games. All right. Other than that, let's for real quick shout out. I know we glanced over the Houston game. We didn't send a picture, but Coach Gay was at the Houston game sending photos there of and in attendance. Someone had to be there in attendance because everyone else was watching the Birmingham game. Was that their last home game? Houston's.
I believe so. And yeah, the Coach K sent us a photo with it was 7 seconds into the game, so it had just started, and I don't know. Looking at it, I didn't do a zoom in and a head count, but it looks like 150 to 200 people at best.
Yeah. Wow. Well, plenty of maybe double pizza parties then. Who won?
Yeah.
Did they even announce the pizza parties? Who won those things at the Pizza Hut? We gave out over. That was this weekend. They were doing it, right?
It was, and I did not hear if they announced it. I did see, though, that Davion Smith, who was part of Pizzagate, was inactive, and I wonder if that was on purpose.
What a message they sent, those corporate bastards. He tried to get in line for that. He didn't want pizza, right? He wanted something healthy.
Yeah, he wanted pizza and not chicken salad or something like that.
Yeah, can I not have the chicken salad?
Yeah.
It ain't going to work, buddy.
Back in line, as Kim Mulkey would say. All right, well, let's. So that's the recap. All 4 overs hit. DC the favorite, Michigan the favorite, Birmingham the dog, and Memphis the small. Both 2 small dogs, 1 big favorite hit and 1 small favorite. But actually, the lines were pretty tight, so pretty spread evenly. And then we come down. We got 2 more weeks of football coming in, and then the playoffs. And is everyone else even alive for the playoff race except for the top 4 teams right now?
No, it is said of these 4 teams will be in the playoffs. And I mean, technically, yeah, you want to be the number 1, but it doesn't matter if you're playing a home game, right? So who cares about seeding? So unfortunately, these next 2 weeks don't mean a whole lot.
Wow. So it is Michigan at Birmingham, no matter what. And it is DC at St. Louis, no matter what.
Yep.
And then the winner at St. Louis, no matter what.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is upsetting. not to pull Colby here, but he's got a point. I mean, that's pretty roof. And TAMU said it himself. It was amazing watching that post-game press conference where TAMU was just like, why don't we do this at Arlington? We're already here. No travel, neutral site, save money. And everyone's like, yeah. You're right. We have no idea because your league is run by an absentee father named The Rock.
Hey, Rock, go fuck yourself.
I mean, he sends his ex-wife out there. So I don't know how it goes. All right. Well, I guess we'll do the power rankings as an exercise in pain. But first, let's do a couple more ad reads because I still got to tell you about Rhythm. The Rhythm's going to bet you. Rhythm's going to bet you. Rhythm's going to bet you. With props. Rhythm is your home for AI-backed picks and props. Dominate the NBA playoffs, PGA, MLB, and just launched the WNBA. WNBA is off to another toxic start. Rhythm knows you'll love that. That's why they include a 7-day free trial. Rhythm has some amazing deals going on now. 25% off monthly subscription with promo code SGPN25 and 50% off annual subscription with promo code SGPN50. That's RITHMM, promo code SGPN25 or SGPN50. Get your 7-day free trial today. sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. Also, don't forget about the Circa Ultimate Fantasy Football Giveaway. Circa Resort and Casino in Las Vegas is giving away the ultimate fantasy football experience for a 12-person league to draft in Vegas and be treated like VIPs for their stay. Winner gets a 2-night stay at the Circa Resort for your entire 12-person league, 6 double king rooms, so bunk up. Hold the draft at a cabana at the Stadium Swim with a $5,000 food and beverage credit. You can get at least 2 chicken salad sandwiches there for $5,000. Limo transportation to and from the airport. Welcome Party Legacy Club for the league. A reservation at the world's largest sports book with $500 beverage credit for the league. 2-hour open bar at the Overhang Bar. May 5th to June 30th is when you enter this contest. Go to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/circa. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/CIRCA. And I'm just doing math off the top of my head. If you have a 12-team league, have every member of your team enter the contest. That's 12 times the amount you can check to win. Also brought to you by MyBookie. MyBookie AG. It's your place to bet on every sport, including the NBA playoffs. For the true D-Gens, the MyBookie money bag. That's what it spins the wheel and gives you whatever the hell it wants. MyBookie accepts customers from a ton of locations. Easy deposit, lightning fast payouts using crypto. A bet that I like on MyBookie is your Minnesota Timberwolves plus 7.5, game 1. Quick turnaround from my Thunder after game 7. Another terrible scheduling spot. I mean, it's not like they're playing the game in Minnesota like the UFL would do, but they could use a little more rest. Head to mybookie.ag, promo code SGPN. 100% deposit match up to $1,000. Terms and conditions apply. That's mybookie.ag. Promo code SGPN. And we are back here on the UFL Gambling Podcast. I almost did the bottom line bombs as those ad reads are so involuntary. I'm with J Mark, host of Old Fashioned Football. That does it for the weekend recap. We had Colby Dundee, Picks Dundee, Rum Dundee from Columbia, but it looks like on his last day there, he had some turmoil going on. I mean, that thunder and lightning was pretty loud. I'll give him that. Like, I literally thought it was a soundboard at first, but it was cranked out. It was cranking out. And then when he froze, I literally thought he got clipped or something by some kind of drug lord down there. He said there's motorcycle gangs up there. But yeah, anyway, we'll continue the show. And you asked for a more positive show here on the UFL, J Mark. I think this was the only way to get it. Literally, your wish someone was listening above there where they knocked out his internet connection. But he will be flying back to America where he belongs, if you ask me, in North America on American soil tomorrow. So he will be there for our pick show, which will be on Thursday, I presume, as long as all the schedules line up again at our normal time, 6 o'clock Eastern, 3 o'clock Pacific, 5 o'clock Central, 4 o'clock Mountain, if you still go by that 70s time zone. No one really mentions the Mountain time zone. Growing up, I remember they would mention Mountain like on TV, like, Mork and Mindy and whatever. Like, who cares about who lives in Mountain time zone? But they would give it to us. All right, let's get into our power rankings, J Mark. Now I've actually had to we've been flipping to 7 and 8 between Memphis and San Antonio all year round. And even after that game, I still don't know which way to go, to be honest with you. If you wanted to put a gun to my head and say which team is better, which team is worse, because Memphis's numbers looked awful. And if you're going to play Troy Williams out there, I know they won the game, but I have to give them credit for winning the game. So I put San Antonio at 8.
Yeah, I did the same thing. They're both number 8 in my opinion.
Yeah,
there's just a blanket 7, and these are both 8. I know Colby would argue the fact that I know he likes to do well, even though they won. I still like the other team. I like to go based on if you won the game, I'm going to rank you a little bit higher. So yeah, I got the Brahmas at number 8 as well. Couldn't beat the Boats, who was my number 8 last week. So you got to put them at number 8.
Yeah, say what you want. Memphis went on the road and got the win on a Friday night. I mean, it is what it is, You could shrug them up balls, miss field goals, drop touchdowns, pick 6, 36 goddamn yards from your quarterback. But they did what they had to do, and they win. And I think we've said enough about those two teams.
And I'll leave it at that. And so will I.
That, of course, it was the NBA pregame show, which bumped the ending of that great DC Arlington game so we could watch them mispronounce names and just yell things about who's going to show up and you got to show out. It'd be one thing if they had an analysis, you know what I mean? But they're just screaming things like, this isn't your first take show. I don't know. Whatever. Enough talking about that. 6, I went with Houston, of course. Again, they seem to not. We mentioned it. I'm glad they're doing it. I'm glad they're competent. I'm glad they're grounded. They got some momentum, but they still can't get out of their own way in these games. I mean, they're outgaining Michigan by 150 yards, and they're not even coming close to a victory. And they had the complete meltdown the week before versus Birmingham. I mean, if this schedule is maybe 10 more weeks, I'd give them a shot. But I mean, they just keep falling on their own face here. But there's definitely head and shoulders above Memphis and San Antonio. I'll give them that.
Yeah. I went with the Renegades here, and maybe that's just my Luis Perez hatred here. But, they couldn't run the ball very efficiently against DC, who has had a pretty bad defense. Yeah, Luis Perez threw it for a lot, but he's also a turnover machine. I mean, if you put Jalen McClendon on Arlington, they might be undefeated. That guy can dip it. So
I know.
So I mean, just because of that, I put them at 6. Just more disappointment for Luis Perez and his King of Spring followers and readers.
And readers and audiobook readers. Coming into chat, Danny Cheney says he doesn't get if people think it's rigged for St. Louis, the league, then just bet them on the money line. And he makes a solid point. I always say that when people say it's rigged. Oh, if it's rigged, then bet on the rig side. You know what I mean? Embrace it. They're giving you free information. They're like, well, that's the thing. They don't want you to know how it's rigged. Okay. All right. They are giving them a little favoritism there with the dome. But it's also, like you said, I mean, they have 15,000, 20,000, 30,000 people show up. That's going to get some eyeballs. Yeah, we want games there. We're trying to get this league off the ground. So I understand that. And it's not like they removed it from them. It's not like they bought the soccer team and scheduled that game for them, you know. That'd be something else. 5, I think you have to go Arlington again. Obviously, we're going with all the non-playoff teams. Arlington is the best of them. They played well versus DC. I was pretty impressed with how they fought back, even though it looked like DC was about to jump on them, and they fought back. And Perez, like you said, throws for a bunch of yards, does a bunch of things, king of spring, right book, and then he does something absolutely ridiculous. And I didn't even know that story, that Stoops threw him under the bus like that and said he audibled and called his own play. I told him to spike it, that idiot. That's amazing. But they have a lot of talent, so.
Yeah, just hilarious. He said he did not expect that play call. He thought he would spike it and that they would just kick the field goal.
Incredible. It was in Perez's defense, so I will say, but that was a pretty long field goal. They're like the 40 or 30, 38. It's not like they were in the 25 and he did that nonsense. You know, they could have picked up 5 more yards for a field goal outside in the beer snake conditions. They could have used it. I'll just say that. But they could not have used that, what he did. You have, if you got to do it, everyone's got to be on the same page, and you got to get it out quickly. He like paused for a second and gave that D-back a chance to do it. It was, like you said, a perfect Perez ending. Next chapter in that book, let's go to team 4. Now we have the 4 playoff teams. I struggle with all of this, and I don't want, like, St. Louis, Birmingham, I have 3-4, and I actually I know I just said I gave credit to Memphis for this win, but I was actually pretty impressed with Birmingham's effort there in St. Louis. They outgained them. I won't say they outplayed them. St. Louis deserved the win. I'm not saying they did not, but a 1-point loss at St. Louis in a game that they weren't as motivated for. Can't knock them too much for that. I think if you play these guys on a neutral field, I give the edge to Birmingham here. So I put St. Louis at 4.
Oh, man, doubting the Battlehawks here. I got the Stallions at number 4.
Sure, I can see that.
Yeah, I see the argument either way, though, because I do have the Battlehawks at 3. So those teams, they're easily flippable. For me, it just came down to the fact that, it was a close game. Yeah, Birmingham played very well, but St. Louis outlasted them. They found the way to win, right?
They did.
Sure, it was causing the fumble by Marable, but that counts too. I mean, you're talking to a Bears fan who loves the peanut punch, you know? I mean,
right. That's absolutely right.
So
no, they deserve the win. No doubt about it. They deserve the win, and they probably do deserve to be ranked ahead of 3. But yeah, I'm splitting hairs here anyway when we go with the power rankings. I mean, it's the top 4 teams here.
Sure.
But I do think it should be Birmingham, St. Louis, any order you want to put them. You want to put St. Louis 3. No argument here, since they did just beat them, and then DC, Michigan, same exact thing. They're the 1-2 above them, but I also would throw a blanket over all 4 of these teams. If you throw them in a neutral field battle royale style, anyone could come out on top, and I would not be surprised. I went with DC 2 just because I can't knock Michigan for losing, especially with Etling. I mean, for winning with Etling on the road. I don't care what the yardage was. They won going away. DC 2, the only thing that's keeping me from keeping them number 1 is that defense, and now tough task ahead of. They got to go to St. Louis for a playoff game. It's a shame, but there it is. Who do you have at 2?
I got the Panthers number 2. I will say credit to the Panthers. I liked getting that notification that my over 5.5 wins cashed.
Yes.
Several weeks ago, I gave that out and said to jump on it. I was impressed with how Etling played. When I saw him starting, I thought, oh, Houston's winning this. They didn't. It was a little fluky if you look at the yardage, but they still got the win. I think if DC and the Panthers meet at a neutral field, I don't know if the Panthers can keep up with DC's pace. That would be interesting to see.
Well, you know what? You make a good point there. J Mark, with Etling looking good, is that the last thing Mike Nolan needed to see? Now he's going to be tempted to now like platoon Perkins with him again. They just finally got into a groove where Perkins was the MVP, he was the best player in the league, and finally he's like, all right, I'll let him start. And now this ankle thing got him excited again. All right, now I can get Etling in there, and Etling looks good.
Yeah,
I wouldn't be surprised if he tinkers with it, down the stretch here and starts platooning him again.
Yeah, back to the 2 quarterback system that he was trying to do at the beginning. Yeah, that wouldn't surprise me at all, knowing Mike Nolan.
What are we good at? Have you found something that you can build on in identity with this team?
No.
That is John Tortoletti with a no, absolutely not. What have you learned? Nothing. So I have Michigan number 1. Just because they've been number 1 last couple of weeks. I love my DC defenders, but with they did that without Perkins. I'll just say that. But you're right. Then now I'm having pause. Now I'm thinking Nolan will get his fetish going back in there and start platooning, which would be hilarious. And man, will that fire Colby up? You think he's fired up now when he's locked out of Colombian Wi-Fi areas? Wait till he hits American soil and finds out Etling's the new starter for these Panthers.
Absolutely. Yeah, and the DC, their biggest concern for me is their defense. But the Panthers haven't looked great the past 2 weeks either. I mean, they gave up a ton of yards, not a ton of points, but a ton of yards to Houston. They had to do the come from behind win against Arlington. So
now that one.
No, Blandino, you're killing us up there.
Completely stolen by Dino Blandino. Yeah. That was a disgrace. I almost forgot
call
about
a timeout. Nobody has one, but let's call a timeout.
Yeah, it's all right. The clock stops instantly and we'll grant you a timeout. Why not? Sorry, DC number 1. DC is a team that I feel like gets it done. Like, almost lost to the Brahmas for crying out loud, but then they still get it done and pull ahead. And I don't know. I like the way I just like the way they have had a chip the entire season, and team that we've all kept out. All right, I want to do a quick peek ahead line for week 9 here before we get out of here.
Certainly.
Now this is going to be interesting though. What was the motivation if they already know the home field advantage of these games, where seeding does not in fact matter?
Yeah, that's my concern as well, especially when you look at that first game. I see Friday nights have kind of been duds anyways.
Yep.
And the Battlehawks an 8-point favorite. I realize the Brahmas suck, but what do the Battlehawks have to play for necessarily?
You're exactly right. And Tony Baloney would like to rest some starters. I'm seeing the line is 8 plus 320 on the money line. This is from mybookie.ag. Yeah, initial thought there is I'm going to be all over these Brahmas, to be honest with you. Hopefully they could bounce back. That Friday night game was versus DC a week ago where they actually looked good, and with Hogan and all that and their defense. And you're right. If St. Louis shuts it down, and there's no reason for them not to, although week 9 would be a tad bit early, I would imagine. You want to keep something going there, but just initial thoughts. These are not official plays. Like again, our UFL pick show will be on Thursday. Catch us live, 6 p.m. Eastern, 3% Pacific. These are just initial thoughts. If you think the line's going to go somewhere, maybe you grab it early. I'm tempted to grab that Brahmas line. The next game, we got a doubleheader Saturday. At least it's not simultaneous, for crying out loud. Arlington, Memphis, line is 4 for Arlington, total 40.5. Who do you like there? I think Arlington might just flex and take out a lot of frustration in this game, to be honest with you.
100% agree. Yeah, this is obviously neither of these teams have anything to play for, but it seems like Arlington's probably the more motivated, pissed off team.
Yeah, they've been angry. They've been getting jobbed by the league. They've been getting jobbed by their own, shooting themselves their own foot. They're just as talented as these playoff teams, but they haven't been able to get it done. I think they really lay it on Memphis, who is an absolute. I mean, if I get word that Troy Williams is starting again, I'm going to have an uncomfortable amount of money on Arlington, just like I had an uncomfortable amount of money on San Antonio, which turned out to be a loser. Then we got Michigan, Birmingham, which. It's a shame because this would be a great game. Still could be. Line's 1.5. Second week in a row, Birmingham is the underdog. 44.5, huge total. But if Michigan can't host a playoff game and it's going to go to Birmingham anyway, what do either one of these have to play for?
Yeah. The only thing I can say on this one is Birmingham has never lost 2 in a row. So that makes me want to bet them.
Yeah, no, I probably will be on Birmingham. Skip Holtz likes to keep a tight ship there. He doesn't like the mentality to get away from it, like rest, and we don't need this, we don't need that. He'll find a way to motivate it. And to be honest with you, he does. They need to look better. They need to play better all year round. So week by week, he builds towards these playoffs and a championship. So I'm with you on that. I'll probably definitely be on Birmingham there, home dog especially. And wrap it up with my DC Defenders at Coach K's Houston. So Houston does host another game. Line is 345.5. Listen, we said it here for the last couple of weeks. DC's an auto overplay. I don't care that's 45.5. I'm going to be on that over too, especially with a competent offense like Houston on the other side. As far as motivation goes, it's tough to say. I don't know. I have no opinion on the side right now, but I bet they put up some points.
Yeah, this will be interesting because Houston just put up 441 yards. Obviously, DC has been letting people put yards up in the air. So this will be good. I think this will be a good game to watch, even though neither team has anything to play for.
Right. Absolutely. And but I hope DC is smart enough to rest some players, though, because they have a huge playoff game, obviously, in St. Louis. And I think for my future, I don't want any damn injuries with Coach Johnson down there and his shenanigans. And what the hell is going on there? All right, that'll wrap it up for Colby D. I'm sure he'll be on the message board. He's maybe in disguise, or he's taken hostage by a motorcycle gang. Who knows what happened out there? I've seen yourself. Make sure you subscribe to the Bottom Line Bombs, my live daily show, Mondays and Wednesdays. Subscribe to all of the socials. CJ Sullivan _ on X. CJ Sullivan was taken. Instagram _ me tweets word. J Mark, make sure you subscribe to the Old Fashioned Football. We got Channing wants to know any new shows coming up of the Old Fashioned.
Yeah. We missed last week. Life was just crazy, but we'll be back 6:30 Central tomorrow.
All right.
Kind of switching the format up a little bit. So NFL news, whiskey reviews. We're going to be breaking down the Caleb Williams drama that's come out with this new book, Brock Purdy getting paid, talk about Derek Carr retiring, the George Pickens trade, kind of wrap it all up with the NFC news headliners that have been going on.
All right, NFC news headliners, and what is with Caleb? We almost had him in UFL, for crying out loud. What a great move that would have been.
Absolutely, yeah. That's just wild that's coming out right now.
Right now, and that story is so funny because everything they say is true. It's like that's where quarterbacks go to die. Well, yeah, you're right. That is where they go to
it's
die.
Hard to argue that.
It is Chicago. It's what happens.
And he did say, just for some betting insight, he did say, or the quote is that he should have gone to Minnesota or wanted to go there after meeting with Kevin O'Connell. The Bears week 1, Minnesota at Chicago. He's got to, after all this, especially has to outshine JJ McCarthy. Take Bears. They're -1.5 point favorites right now.
Wow. Lane, week 1, Bears, Caleb versus JJ. Those Viking fans are out of their minds. They think they're winning the Super Bowl this year. I mean, they're ludicrous.
Yeah.
But especially and first of all, the Vikings will never win a Super Bowl. That's just the law. That's just the way it happens. Something horrible will happen with the Vikings. They're one of the low-key cursed franchises, and I love it. I love when they fail. Anyway, that's going to do it for our show. For Colby, for J Mark, I am CJ Sullivan. I don't have any songs to play. How do we get out of here? What do? We just play some clips? I don't even know what to do. I'll you know what? Since the murder quote has been requested almost in the chat room. Thank you, everyone in the chat room, by the way, who kept the show going live, and Coach K, who keeps the Houston game Roughneck season alive. That will be all we say on
and
that.
I'll leave it at that. And so will I.
He was the best guy around.
What about the people he murdered?
What murder?
See you.